Welcome to another episode of the THWIPcast. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about a big report that came out a few days ago. I will include the link to the article in the description to this episode, so check that out if you just wanted to read it for yourself, but I will be breaking it down. This is a huge report if it is true. It could drastically affect Disney Plus and Disney's stock in general. It's not 100% confirmed, but it's super significant that it is being reported, and just this will change how Disney's content will be distributed. It will change how, consumers perceive subscribing to their content. So I will get into that, but first of all, I just wanted to thank anyone who is listening or watching. I do see the number of people, different regions across the world, which is really cool. So I really appreciate anyone who is listening or watching. I also just wanted to update everyone on some announcements I made last week. So I mentioned I am making an Avengers trailer that is still in development. It is probably going to take me the rest of this week into next week, so I will still update you on when that is releasing. I'm still just kind of planning out some other episodes I could do, whether it's top 5 MCU movies or top 5 DC movies or something like that. Just stuff to kind of fill in space between big news dropping, because lately it hasn't been too much. It's just been all rumors, so I'm not going to do huge MCU news and rumors episodes. I've done a couple, but moving forward I probably won't do as many because it just takes that much longer to edit and produce. So as of right now, it's just going to be a little limited on that, but I will make sure it picks up at some point. Yeah, so the Avengers trailer is coming soon, and I will still be putting out episodes related to any news that drops or just top 5 stuff like that. So I'm going to get into this report. It was reported on TheWrap.com, and an important thing to know about this going into this article is that Comcast, which is the company that is being mentioned here, is the parent company of Universal Studios. So any of those Universal movies are owned by Comcast. So I'm going to break down what the article says, and I'm also going to mention my personal input on what could be happening. And this is also just paraphrasing too, I'm not reading the exact article. So it starts off by saying that Disney currently has a 67% stake in Hulu. They acquired Hulu back in 2009 with a 27% stake. And since then, in the last 3 years since Disney Plus launched, they have integrated content into Hulu. So they're kind of combining the two services. So this is the big part. Disney Plus is becoming a staple as to why people in other regions who don't have access to Hulu are buying Disney Plus. So personally, I have Disney Plus, but it also includes the Disney Star because I'm not in the US, which is Hulu's content. So Disney Star is basically Hulu for any region that doesn't have Hulu. So the US has Hulu, so they don't have Disney Star. But where I am, I have Disney Star, which is where all the Hulu content is being put into. So that's how I am getting this content. So the Marvel connection to all this is that 2 major Marvel properties are currently owned by Comcast. The first of which is Hulk. So Hulk was able to appear in Marvel Studios content because they had a shared deal, which was very similar to Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Sony. And other Hulk characters like Thunderbolt Ross or She-Hulk and Abomination have been able to appear in the MCU without having that deal because they're separate IP or intellectual property. So Marvel Studios is still able to use Hulk, but they can't use him in a standalone project because that would be infringing their agreement. The next character is Namor, who recently made his debut in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. He was only able to appear in Wakanda Forever again due to the shared deal between Disney and Comcast. And the reason these characters are owned by Comcast is because they were sold to Universal back in the 90s when Marvel was going bankrupt. So they had to sell all their characters to stay alive, hence why the X-Men and Fantastic Four were owned by Fox and why Spider-Man is currently owned by Sony. So the report goes on to say that a Citi analyst believes Disney will begin to make the swap to bring Hulu over to Comcast in exchange for the rights to Hulk and Namor. So this is a quote from the article. It says, following fiscal 1Q23 results, which means the first quarter of 2023, we believe the company is less interested in a mass market DTC offering. This raises the possibility that Disney may sell its Hulu stake. So DTC means direct to consumer. This potentially means that Hulu doesn't fit their restructuring of management since Iger's reintroduction to the company. He's kind of restructuring how their content is being produced, released, and stuff like that, who's in charge of certain divisions. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is true, if this is a result of Iger's kind of restructuring. The report also says, under a 2019 agreement, Disney can buy out Comcast's remaining 33% stake in Hulu as early as January 2024, and Comcast can require that Disney buy it out. So Disney has the potential to become the sole owner of Hulu, but the insider believes Disney may be interested in risking buying back Hulk and Namor and passing over Hulu. I think this is a huge gamble. This is the two options. Do you lose a large amount of consumers, which would be from Disney Plus, or do you gain back two of your most important characters? Like, this is gonna change a lot of things for Disney if this goes through. It goes on to say, while Disney owns all Marvel IP, Universal has distribution rights to Hulk and Namor, the analyst wrote. As such, if Disney makes a Hulk or a Namor film, Comcast can distribute the film on Peacock, which is Comcast's streaming service. If Hulu is sold, Disney may use this as an opportunity to secure these distribution rights. And I can't see Universal ever doing this, especially with how solidified the MCU is now. And I mean by like releasing a Hulk film on Peacock or a Namor film on Peacock. That doesn't make sense because the Marvel Studios audience would see that as like, why are they putting it there? That makes no sense. Like, it would be exclusive to Peacock, so that doesn't make any sense for them. Now, if Universal only owns the film rights to the characters, Marvel could maybe make a show on each character. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but if it's solely the film rights, maybe television is a whole different thing, and maybe they could do a Hulk show or a Namor show. It goes on to say, research indicated that 44% of US internet households subscribed to Hulu in Q3 of 2022, which is the third quarter of 2022, which is a 6-point increase over 2021. This could see drastic changes to how Disney Plus earns revenue for Disney if this deal happens, because that many more subscribers just subscribe to Hulu to get that content. So now if they sell it to Comcast, they potentially lose a ton of revenue and subscribers. This could potentially lose tons of upcoming projects that would go to Hulu or Disney Star as well. And I'm not like a huge insider on how well received and how these Hulu projects are performing under Disney's watch, but I still think that would greatly affect them. So that's basically the end of the article. So getting into my personal view. What I believe Disney could do if the deal happens is you make that rumored World War Hulk movie, because you just got the rights back, you've probably been planning this forever, just make it. And especially like building many more Hulk characters up right now, it would make sense to do something like that. Like, you just introduced She-Hulk, you introduced Scar, or what we think is actually Scar. I'm not entirely sure how they're gonna handle that character because of how She-Hulk ended, like it was very sudden. But do that, or make a normal Hulk movie. Like, many Hulk fans are dying to see this again. It's been 15 years as of now since the Incredible Hulk came out, so it's been a really long time. Like, just give the Hulk fans what they want. Bring Bruce back into the rageful Hulk we all love. I've kind of said this before, but I do like Smart Hulk, the hybrid that we've had for the last few years, but I feel like Hulk needs to return to that rageful monster that he is deep down. That's just my personal opinion. I think Smart Hulk has had his run. It's time to return to the angry, rageful Hulk, and maybe even have Abomination and the Leader as the villains of this solo movie. Maybe include Doc Samson if you want, and have it be like a classic monster versus man story, which could be very amazing. So that's what I think they should do with Hulk if this deal does happen. For Namor, I think they should do a Namor series on Disney+. I'm super excited to see his character in Talokan again. They could maybe build off of Wakanda Forever, maybe build Atuma up to be a villain. Maybe he's greedy for the throne of Talokan. It would make the most sense to include him as the villain since he's Namor's like most iconic villain. He's also his nemesis. It would be interesting if it does build off of Wakanda Forever, how their friendship could just suddenly change, or they make it a prequel, I'm not sure. If you don't do Atuma, maybe do Orca or do Tiger Shark or Lyra. Just build Namor's environment like you did with Wakanda and they just built with Ta Lo and Shang-Chi. Namor was a fan favorite from Wakanda Forever, so they should definitely give him his own project. I don't know too much about Namor, so I looked up his villains. Doctor Doom came up, so I was like, maybe save Doctor Doom for maybe Black Panther 3. Maybe have a Wakanda and Talokan versus Latveria, which I believe would be chef's kiss. So save that for Black Panther 3 because that was kind of rumored for Wakanda Forever and that didn't end up happening. But overall, I'm very curious to see what comes out of this report. I'm excited but also worried at the same time. By that I mean I'm excited Marvel gains the rights back to two very important characters, but I'm worried Disney will suffer greatly from that trade, which would then result in maybe the Marvel content being reduced or just the quality kind of drops in it. I'm not entirely sure, but either way we still get Marvel and that's a win. That's the Disney Comcast deal. Again, read the article if you want. I will have it linked in the description to this episode, whether you're listening it in podcast form or on YouTube. So thank you for anyone that is listening or watching. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at THWIP_media, where I will be retweeting news. I will also be sharing content release updates, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel THWIP Media. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I know this was a shorter one, but it's very quick to the point. I just wanted to get it out there because it is a pretty big thing and it came out a few days ago, so I didn't want to be like late to reporting it. But thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.